For portable live streaming on the go, keep your phone charged with the Anker PowerCore 10,000, one of the smallest and lightest external batteries you can get. Affiliate link below. Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is 3 Buck Theater, and if you've been following Sony's Marvel Cinematic Universe connection story bits for a while, you've been probably asking yourself, are they just stupid, or are they just stupid? And of course, I'm referring to the Venom movie, the Silver Sable and Black Cat, and potentially Spider-Gwen films that are going to be separate from the Marvel Cinematic Universe featuring Spider-Man, owned by Sony, and not be connected to that at all. Remember, I was calling it Sony's MCU. That was the name I gave it. And it turns out that they're not as retarded as we thought. And I figured this was always going to happen, but I was really waiting for the movie to come out, Spider-Man Homecoming to come out, and then that would be the key. Now, a couple things we know. One, Tom Holland confirmed that there will be a trilogy of Spider-Man films set in this universe. They will, in fact, be tied in to the MCU at large. He is going to be in a number of Marvel films, clearly Avengers Infinity War and Infinity Gauntlet, if that's what they're going to call the second one. And then who knows where else he might show up. I am pretty sure at this point, Tom Holland is going to be Spider-Man for the next 10 to 20 years. If you want my honest opinion, they're going to do that. And I think he's down for it, which is one of the reasons why they gave him the Uncharted franchise as kind of one of those things like, well, what do you want, Tom? Do you want to work on something else? Name it and you can do it. And he's like, Uncharted, I'm Nathan Drake. And they're like, you are now, kid. Who do you want to play Sully? Bruce Campbell? Done. I'm holding out hope for that one. I'm holding out hope. But truth be told, when it gets back to the idea of the cinematic universe, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the Spider-Gwen, Silver Sable, Black Cat film, Venom, whatever spinoff they wanted, it being on its own was a bad idea. And I had said that they were probably going to wait for the movie to come out and then probably then tie it in. They wanted to see how successful Spider-Man Homecoming would be on its own. And we did learn that the early estimated tracking for Spider-Man Homecoming is somewhere between $90 to $110 million in the opening weekend, which is literally like 3 weeks away. Like, oh my God, it's almost so here. I'm so excited. And so I figured if it being successful, they'd want to tie it in. And Amy Pascal does say here that when it comes to the future Sony spin-off films, in terms of Marvel characters, it's going to say both movies will now take place in the world that we are creating for Peter Parker. They'll be adjunct to it. They may be different locations, but it will still be all in the same world, and they will be connected to each other as well. So basically what I'm getting from this is it's like Marvel TV and Marvel Cinematic Universe. Yes, they're in the same world, they're just separate from each other. They're not going to connect over. There might be some references, there might be some Easter eggs, and God willing, and if Kevin Feige gets his way, they will all be back under the same roof in one form or another, and that's precisely, I think, part of his plan. And so you have that going on right now. Now, when asked if that meant Peter Parker himself will appear in Sony's spin-off films, and not just the MCU-related ones, Pascal did follow that up with, there's always a chance. I think one of the things that Kevin has done with Marvel that's so brilliant is bringing the fans along and making each movie feel like a chapter in a book, that you have to read that chapter in order to go forward. And I think the investment that fans get to feel in being part of a larger story and understanding what's happening is something that I know Sony would want to emulate. Keyword there is emulate. And the reason why it's emulate, well, they already tried to emulate it once, let's be fair. Amazing Spider-Man 2 tried so hard to set up a future cinematic universe, right? So it tried setting up the Sinister Six, of which I was totally, wholeheartedly, 100% on board with. Like, give me the Sinister Six. And I liked Rhino. I liked Paul Giamatti as Rhino. I liked Amazing Spider-Man 2. I'm one of the few that did, but I really enjoyed it. And, Sony was trying to emulate Marvel. But Sony was doing something very similar to what DC was doing at the time, and they were trying a bit too hard. They were trying to force it instead of letting it happen organically. In which he was referring to Kevin Feige and him laying these things out like chapters in a book. There was always, yes, the origin films, the lead up to these things, but they had other characters to kind of, you know, fill in the gaps and populate the world in that regard. It wasn't just like Iron Man 1, then Iron Man 2, then Avengers. It was Iron Man 1, The Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America, then the Avengers, and then, you know, we went from there. So there was a buildup to get to that point. It took 4 damn years. Sony was like, we can do this shit in like 2, you know, and DC has been basically trying to push the same thing. However, I think with Wonder Woman's success, they're basically, I think they're nailing down a track that they want to go down, and I'm on board. But what this also says to me too is that my theory that Disney might be getting ready to purchase Sony, or purchase Columbia Pictures or Sony Pictures or whatever, I think that's coming more to fruition. And I have a feeling at Comic-Con we're either going to get like comments about a wholehearted deal happening where all of the Sony owned Marvel characters are going to be brought into the same exact deal that Spider-Man has, to therefore tie them into the larger world. Because just imagine like Kraven the Hunter showing up and working, you know, like with, who knows? It's like in an Avengers movie, like, you know, like they're like, oh, we're doing Avengers 5, and like they're all of a sudden Kraven shows up out of fucking nowhere. Like you would lose your shit. Or Loki hanging out with Venom. You know what I mean? Like something like that along those lines could happen. Marvel is in this for the long haul. And yes, by 2020, when they start kind of expanding themselves outwards towards the cosmos, we don't know what's going to happen next, but it's going to be very interesting. At least now we know that Sony and Amy Pascal are very much on board to make this a collaboration rather than just kind of like a parallel universe. Because I think all along they knew, right? They knew they had to go down this path, but I think that like the powers that be at Sony were very much realizing that they don't have the gumption, the skill set, or the ability to make themselves well, successful in that, right? So they need to go to Marvel, and Marvel at this point is basically holding all the potatoes. I mean, eventually Sony could sit there and buck this deal with Marvel and continue making their own movies and have them fail consistently in terms of cost and critical response and box office response. And then eventually just stop making it because it's not profitable, and then those rights would eventually return to Marvel, similar to Daredevil, and then all of a sudden Marvel would go, oh, hey, we're going to totally make this our thing now and have it gross $1 billion. What I'm hoping for, just to kind of wrap this thing up, is that I'm hoping Fox looks at this and goes, how do we jump in on this as well? Because while Logan and Deadpool were phenomenal films, phenomenal fucking movies, if Logan doesn't get nominated for some kind of award, I'm going to be pissed off. But the whole point is, if they don't start to also discuss things with Marvel about bringing these X-Men characters back over, then, you know, they might find themselves in a similar situation, once again losing a character like Daredevil back to the home company, and then having that company then turn it into a very large and profitable and very good franchise. So there's that. At least we now know what's going on with the Sony's Marvel movies and where they're going and everything else. And I'm done rambling about this for right now. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. My name is, of course, Matt Jarbo. This is $3 Theater. I'll talk to you guys later. Have yourself a fantastic day, and peace out.